Hello friends, today we will be discussing about the education for sustainable development. Till this time, we have been discussing various concepts related to sustainability like carrying capacity, ecological footprint, or even the sustainable development goals as well. But today, it is very important because we will be discussing the education for sustainable development or ESD. So, let's begin. So to talk about the ESD, you might have known as you are watching this video, you might have known regarding the sustainable development or what is sustainability. If not, I would recommend please watch this video about sustainability. The link is provided on top right corner right now, right? Okay, so sustainable development talks about how we achieve our development in view of the resources that will be required for the future generations, right? But how to achieve that? That is real question. And here comes the education for sustainable development, and which talks about how we can impart the knowledge, skills, values, and attitudes. These four are very important. How we impart these into our coming generations, right? So, and when we are talking about the ESDs, as we have already discussed about the 17 SDGs or Sustainable Development Goals, that we have a target that we have to meet before 2030, right? So to achieve these Sustainable Development Goals, the fourth SDG, that is the quality education, which will have a very high importance in order to achieve these SDGs in time, right? So what we will do is we will just go to one of the reports by the UNESCO, and which will help us to understand this in a much better way. Okay, so this is one of the report from the UNESCO, and if you know it, it is United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, that is the UNESCO, and this is one of the report, Education for Sustainable Development. One roadmap is there. Okay, so let's talk about the ESD. This is a roadmap, a framework for the education for sustainable development. So before going further, I would like to highlight this quote from this book, from this report. Okay, so yes, now you can see that. Okay, so let me just delete the previous one. Yeah, we are increasingly asking if what people learn is truly relevant to their lives, if what they learn helps to ensure the survival of our planet. Education for sustainable development can provide the knowledge, awareness and action that empower people to transform themselves and transform societies. So this is one of the quotes from Assistant Director General for Education in UNESCO, Stefania Giannini, right? So the quote is very important, and we can consider this as a crux of the ESD, Education for Sustainable Development. How to provide knowledge, awareness and action, the attitude part, how to impart that, and the transform themselves means there always, when there is a change, it will happen in two stages. So first is at individual level, how we appreciate the change, we appreciate the importance and we change ourselves, and then from I to we, how we expand our capabilities. So that is very, very essential, right? Let's move ahead, and in this report there are many important points, important key elements that we would be required to pay attention, but today we will be discussing about some of the points, right? So as we have just recovered, or we are still recovering from the COVID pandemic, so it is very high time that we appreciate that we as human beings are dependent on nature. Environmental preservation, environmental conservation should be our first priority, without which we may not survive, right? So this understanding is very essential. And as in the 2015 Paris Agreement as well, so all the world leaders and we can say that we have decided that the 2 degrees Celsius scenario. So just 1 minute, it is very much bigger. In 2015 Paris Agreement, so we as a world decided to limit the global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius, and The tragic part is, or the serious part is, we have already crossed 1 degree Celsius, right? So the International Panel on Climate Change, IPCC's report and IPCC's different predictions that are very, very important over here. So we need to pay attention on this. Right, so human induced warming reached approximately 1 degree Celsius, and currently it is more than one. It has crossed 1 degree Celsius. So it is I'm sorry, it is very crucial that how we appreciate and how we take action right now. And this is very high time to work on sustainability. And yes, definitely we are in a battle for our lives, but it is a battle we can win. So definitely this is very high time. Now what needs to be done? This is very essential, right? We understand the sustainability is important. Sustainable development is something that we should aspire to. To shift to a sustainable future, right? To shift to a sustainable future, we need to rethink what, where, and how we learn to develop the knowledge, skills, values, and attitudes. These 4 are very essential. How we learn, how we inculcate the knowledge, the skills, values, and attitude. And that will enable us all to make informed decisions and take individual and collective action at local, national, and global urgencies. Right? So if we are working right now on sustainability, sustainable development, at the backdrop, education for sustainable development, which is very essential. So, and this ESD, we will call it as ESD henceforward. So ESD empowers learners with knowledge, skills, values, and attitudes to take informed decision and make responsible action for environmental integrity, economic viability, and a just society, empowering people of all genders for present and future generations. So that is what we talk about sustainable development, right? So development that fulfills the needs of present generation without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Correct? So is the ESD or education for sustainability is only for the school children? Does it end when a student completes the education? No, it is not like that. So this ESD is a lifelong learning process, and it's an integral part of the quality education that enhances cognitive, social, emotional, and behavioral dimensions of learning. So learning is not a single faceted. Learning is multifaceted, right? So when we learn, there is cognitive improvement in us. So when we call a person is learned person, so that person has improved in the cognition, in the social behavior, the emotional EQ, IQ, the behavioral pattern of that person. And if that does not happen, then we do not call that person as learned, right? So the learning itself imparts development in all these fronts. So this is a holistic and transformational and encompasses learning content, outcomes, pedagogy, and learning environment itself. So this ESD, if we talk about the ESD, education for sustainable development, this is recognized as key enabler of all sustainable development goals or SDGs. So whether you take any of the sustainable development goals, if we have to achieve that goal, whether it is about poverty or hunger, we need this ESD, education for sustainable development, right? So you can see the societal transformation, the learning outcome, learning content, the pedagogy. Pedagogy means how we teach, how we impart the knowledge. That is really very essential, right? So next very important thing I would like to point out from this report is, so let's talk about the ESD for 2030. As we are all committed to achieve the sustainable development goals by 2030, we have 17 goals, right? So if you haven't gone through these 17 goals, so on the screen you can see in this short, so these are the 17 goals. If you want to get more details, so I have already prepared some special videos on each of these SDGs, so you can watch it on top right corner right now. The link is given over there, right? So SDGs, sustainable development goals, so they talk about the one, let's say if we take the no poverty, the first goal, right? So how to achieve that? That is the real question, right? So this is very, very essential that we focus on education to achieve this sustainability, to communicate this to the all human beings that are present in our time, right? Because this is the high time that we all work together. So till this time, in this first video, we have just touched upon the education for sustainable development and why this is important, right? So in the next videos, we will discuss about the goal, objective, and the further report, which are the important points. So I hope it has been some informative video for you. So if you like, please give me one like, and please comment your views, and also subscribe and share to your friends as well. Thank you so much for watching this video, and let us connect in our next video. Thank you. Have a great day. Take care.